Your favorite fat boys.
Man, what it's like, bitch.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite fat boy, Jarron. What's up?
Stefan, aka Mayhem, aka the employee of every month, aka the asshole manager of your dream job.
You keep me on my toes, but you quit. keep me on my toes.
Yeah, I got many names.
What's up, everybody? Welcome again to your favorite fat boy podcast. Today's episode, we're going to talk about our first jobs and job experiences in the workplace, and different things like workplace politics, having good and bad managers, and the best and worst jobs we've had. By it being the fall, new things are coming in, new people getting jobs.
Yeah, it's time for employment.
There you go, and everybody's hiring right now. So if you on your ass let the unemployment, and I'm tired of this, I want a job.
Let's not go there because a lot of these places might be hiring for bullshit pay. And we've been there.
Yeah. But I saw a couple places that say the starting is $13 and up.
Even $13 an hour isn't enough to live off of.
True.
Working full time.
But it's better than making $8.50.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, definitely.
What were you making your first job?
My first real job, I was at Pizza Hut. I was making $2.38 an hour plus tips because minimum wage was like $5.25. So
that was back in what, 2001?
Oh yeah, yeah.
2001, he was making $2.38.
$2.38 an hour plus tips. Sometimes you do better than minimum wage. Sometimes you do way worse than minimum wage.
That's true. My first job wage was $6.50.
Oh, look at you all fancy and shit.
$6.50 an hour, and I got tips.
Oh, fucking fancy. You. That's because you were friends with the manager.
My brother was.
Exactly.
Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, so my first job was working as a barista at a coffee bar called Cozy. Well, it was called X and O,
yeah.
And then it was called Cozy. And there's probably, I don't know how many states in Maryland, but I know there's one in Racisttown. Yeah, it's one in Racisttown. So they specialize in sandwiches, salads.
It was like
coffees.
Panera bread.
It was Panera bread before it was Panera bread.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was working Panera bread. We'll get to that later.
And my very first job was as a waiter at a Pizza Hut. Yeah.
So how was your experience working at Pizza Hut? How long did you work there for?
I worked at Pizza Hut for about a year. And it was a customer service job. So it's always a grab bag. You got people who are assholes that you have to deal with, and you have to smile about it because of the fact that they supplement your fucking income.
Right.
And then you have management who, I guess they feel like they should have accomplished more in life, but they're the manager at a Pizza Hut, so they're assholes too.
They just mad with their own life.
Oh gosh, yes. So again, customer service job. So you've been in customer service job. You understand that, what goes with that.
Yeah.
Both from the manager side and from the customer side.
Absolutely. When I worked at Cozy, I worked there from 2001 all through high school up until, I want to say, January 2006 or February 2006. So I was there quite a long time.
Right. Longevity in the job.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much.
I mean, I worked when I was in high school, I worked there on the weekends. And then in the summertime, I might pick up more shifts. Part of that would be because of my illness. When I was 15, that's when I was diagnosed with kidney disease. And so I was on steroids at the time. And so I wasn't feeling I wasn't always feeling good. So they knew that, and I told them about it and everything. So they had me on like one day a week, which is like maybe like Sundays, mostly Sundays. And then when I did get better, they might give me like another day or two, whatever. But I only work maybe like 2 or 3 days, but I was like clean up in tips though. On a busy day, I might walk away like $30-$40 in tips. So I think the best day I might have had might have been $50.
Okay.
And I wasn't serving. I was just making the drinks, and the waiters or waitresses would tip us out.
Right.
So that was always a fun, good time. And it was simple. It was easy as shit once you learn what you're doing. I was making coffee drinks, making short order food, and stocking up for the next shift. That was it.
I was waiting and busting tables. Soft shoeing all day for the money, baby.
What do you remember the most you made?
The most I ever made in one night was, and again, it was hard fucking work because I had fucking 30 tables. I made $120. That was the most I ever made. The lowest amount I ever made in, again, a whole 8-hour shift was $15.
Kill everybody.
I wanted to at the end of the night. Fucking kill everybody.
Terrible. Well, those high school jobs, they not gonna be the best thing. But like you said, it seems like you did just to make some money, and then your managers are hating life. Now, the managers I had, they didn't seem that way. They I don't know how much they're making as far as wage, but it seemed like it supported their lifestyle and their family. So they be probably making good money.
At Pizza Hut, not so much. So most of my managers loved me, especially at Pizza Hut, until they didn't. Certain situations come up and they're like, oh, okay, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Which I guess I get it. Because when an angry customer starts cussing you out, nobody gives a fuck about having a friends and alliances.
It's all your fault at that point.
Exactly.
So fast forward here, you graduate college.
I did.
And what was your experience like trying to find a job then at that point?
Oh gosh, from the time I graduated college to the time I got my first career in my degree field took a year. Took a year to find a job.
And that was average pretty much back then.
Yeah,
I think is that still like about the same amount of time nowadays?
I guess it depends, especially on your skill set. Because I know quite a few people that I've worked with who right out of college, boom, in the same field, in the job where I worked. Mm-hmm. So beginning, it took me a year to find a career in my degree field, which was a pain in the ass because of the amount of interviews that I went on and the amount of times where I get, oh wow, we really love you, but we looking for somebody with a little more experience. Bitch, I just graduated, and clearly I can do the job. So so that was always a pain in the ass. But once you're able to get over the hump, especially in the software engineering field, you just kind of skyrocket.
Okay, that's what you did.
Yeah, but you have to get over the hump, and it's hard to get over the hump.
Tell us about the time you when you got an offer and you waited too long.
Oh, I went to the interview. I killed this interview. They loved me. It was a Monday. They gave me an offer, but I was interviewing with a different company. So I wanted to see how those interviews were going because the company that I was interviewing with, the salary that they were promoting the job for was higher than the offer that I got. So I said, I wanted to see how this current thing that I'm interviewing for goes. Again, typically you have a week from an offer. You have a week. That's an unwritten rule. You have a week to respond, yay or nay to the offer. So I'm still interviewing with this company. It's a Friday. They haven't given me an offer. So the original company, I call them and I say, hey, I want to accept your offer. And this white guy, and I hated that he had to be white and he had to talk to me the way that he did. So I don't want it to be a race thing. He was like, you took too long. I was like, it hasn't even been a week. You gave me the offer on Monday. It's Friday. Mm-hmm. So, you should be grateful that we gave you this offer. What do you think, that we just hold a job for you? There's plenty of people who want this job. And I'm thinking like, this old white motherfucker. It's like, I hope that ain't a race thing. But when he said that I should be grateful that they offered me a job, I knew it had to be a race thing.
It was the way that grateful roll off his tongue.
You should be grateful that we offered you this job. And I was like, oh gosh. So yeah, that was painful to even remember.
Sorry. Well, I'll share a painful interview I had. I was working for. Well, no, I'm sorry. I went on an interview for FedEx, and the position was like working overnight, unloading boxes and stuff like that, and packages. And the interviewer asked me, what kind of private work was I doing? So I told her, well, right now I'm currently working for a temp agency, and I was working for McCormick & Smith, unloading garlic, 50-pound bags of garlic from one pallet to another pallet to get put on a truck. And it was, maybe do 3 hours worth of work, if that, or 4 hours at best. But it was grueling because it's like the middle of summer.
Right.
Garlic fucking stings when you sweat.
Oh yeah.
You get in your pores and everything, and you smell so much like it. It's like, it seems like it never comes out of your skin.
Yeah, my father used to work for McCormick.
Oh, that garlic, man, it seemed like it never got out of my nostrils. It just seemed like that smell never got out of my car and my nostrils. So I told her that's what I was doing. She's like, really? And she's like, you don't want to continue working there? I said, no, I think I would like to have I think I deserve a better opportunity somewhere else. And she's like, I wonder if I wonder if I can do that kind of job. And I want to say, so, man, well, bitch, you go do it. Because that shit was grueling. Like, I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how tough you think you are. That was back-breaking labor.
Oh, don't get me. Yeah, I did stockroom work. I know.
So, like, and it was like 4 of us working on these pallets. And these guys, 2 of the guys was, muscular guys. Now, they weren't caught diesel, but they were in pretty good shape. And they were even like, because you in the fucking heat and this shit is seeping in your skins and it's burning. So you talking about, I wonder if I can do it. This is not a job I wouldn't mind. Bitch, go right ahead. Have at it.
So when I leave the position, you take it.
Right. I think that's one of the jobs I had that I did not like. We'll get to the worst and best jobs later. With you being in your field, what have you noticed with like workplace politics? Because I noticed you also have moved around a lot as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, I am the kind of guy, once I get bored with a job, it's time for me to find something new because I need things to keep my interest. Mm-hmm. So every year to 2 years, I tend to switch jobs because I get bored. When it comes to workplace politics, I try to stay out of it. I say I'm a programmer. I just want to write code. Mm-hmm. I don't care about office politics. I mean, the place where I work now is at a research lab. It's nothing but office politics. And I have to be engrossed in it, and I hate it. I hate having to deal with it. I just want to do work that I'm interested in,
right,
do it, and be done with it. I don't care about all of the background stuff. But as you start to progress further in the career and get into more positions where there's some level of power, you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I have been in the field for 10 years and I am still just a software engineer. I could be a team lead. I could be a project manager, but then it's all just politics. And I don't ever want to do that.
Right. Yeah. I don't like that either. I learned about workplace politics when I got my job at PayPal. I started off entry level and I was just, taking calls, of course, in the call center. And when I wanted to move up or get or participate in different things like training, you had to play a game, they say. You had to dress a certain way. You had to, I won't say be a favorite of anybody's, but the general manager, the floor manager had to know you, and he had to respect you. He had to take notice to you and things like that. It's a lot of BS.
Right.
Because, we were told that, for instance, how you dress. They don't say you have to dress in a tie and a shirt and khaki pants every day, but it's a very lax dress code. So young black men would come in there, not wearing any old thing, but jeans, t-shirt, hats, sweatshirts. Girls would, kind of just doing the same thing. They were very relaxed with their clothing as well. And, it didn't seem to bother anybody. But when you wanted to advance, it's like, okay, but for me, I wanted to do training. They're like, okay, well, you got to change something about you. Like, well, what I need to change? Well, your appearance. You need to come here dressed like you're a manager.
Because your management is professional.
Right. So that kind of tipped me off a little bit, but I understood it. But at the same time, it's like, you want me to do this? It's not even guaranteed in a sense. So I played the game. I changed up. I started wearing, button-up shirts and things like that. Got rid of wearing the hat and the sweatshirts. And they're like, oh, you look so nice, or, this, that, and the third. And it's like, man, whatever. But I would get, picked for certain things that I wanted to do and whatnot. So, and then when I got past that, it was learning not to piss off the right person.
Right.
So if I had ideas about something that I thought we should, add or change within how we train people, you had to go through the right channels. If I skipped somebody and they got pissed off, then I wouldn't be doing the training no more because they felt as though I wasn't including them. It's like, well, not that I want to include you, but who are you? And in so much sense, why did I have to include you in all this?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I've always hated about corporations was the number of middle managers is too damn high.
Right.
So every manager got a manager all the way up the chain, and I always felt like this is so inefficient. This is so stupid.
Right. So that's one thing I hate about the politics. And then too, I applied twice for being a supervisor. Well, the first time I applied was to collections, to be a collection supervisor. And granted, I didn't have any collection experience.
Right.
I talked to a person I trained who actually got the position over there as a manager. And I asked him, like, what's the guy looking for? What did you do in your interview? And, pick his brain a little bit so I could, have some ammo when I go into the interview. He gave me what I needed. I did really, really well. He picked somebody over me. And the only reason why is because the person he picked built a goddamn system for collections. And I can't be mad at that.
Right, yeah, that just makes sense.
Right. I get it. I'd have picked him too. But that's the only reason why I lost out to that position. The second time I applied for it, they had somehow concocted that they wanted and planned out, they wanted this one guy to be a supervisor. But they couldn't just flat out just give it to him. Right. So they had to make everybody interview.
Yeah, they had to put on airs like they were
exactly
going to choose somebody different.
But behind closed doors, as well as it was kept, one guy was retiring. Another person was going to step in and take over for him until as an interim. But in the meantime, they're going to hold open interviews and they're going to have him interview, but they will give him the job anyway.
Yeah, make it look like he was the best candidate.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like once you figure that out, like what's the point of interviewing? And then the whole stick of getting to the next level was what they told me was, Jarron, you interview really well. Your numbers but it boils down to your numbers. And I'm like, okay, I meet my goal. But yeah, but sometimes you're inconsistent.
Exceeding the goal.
I'm not exceeding and sometimes I wasn't consistent. And I'm like, okay, so you want somebody to be perfect then.
At least on paper.
You want somebody to be perfect. And the thing about with the product that we're servicing is not perfect. We as a people are not perfect, but you expect me to come in and be perfect. I can give you 110% every day, but I may fall short.
I did it. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Okay, well then you better man than me. I'm always gonna look at it like you can't make me something that I'm actually not.
Because in my work experience, at least in the more service jobs that I did before I got into my career, where I got to sit in front of a computer and not deal with anybody, is I've always just worked hard. I don't know where that acumen came from. Probably from my mom and my daddy. They were always really hard workers, and I never really asked for a promotion, but the times that I was given to assistant manager, or stockroom manager, it's because it's like, all right, yeah, you look like he's really hard worker. Give him a position because we want to keep him here.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever asked for any promotion. They were just always given to me based off of my work acumen.
Well, that's good. That's good for you. Yeah, the only places PayPal was that first job where I had applied to a higher level and I got it. And if I had probably not gotten sick, I eventually would have been a supervisor. So, but they kicked me to the curb once I got sick. So that's how that went.
Yeah, we know how that story goes.
Yeah. Are there any good, bad managers that stick out in your head over these past few years?
I can't say about good ones. No, I've had a couple of good ones, but I've had a whole lot of bad ones, especially when doing customer service. Working at Pizza Hut, my manager, she was a bad fucking manager. She go off on employees, she would go off on customers, and then she wasn't a big woman, so it's like somebody's gonna beat your ass. When I worked at a homeless shelter, the same thing. This tiny woman going off on these homeless dudes. Yeah, just this inferiority complex has to be, I'm the manager, you got to do what the fuck I say. Going off on the homeless guys, and there's hundreds of these homeless guys, and she just in their faces, ready to fight, and I'm like, you can't do that. One of these dudes will fucking hit you.
Yeah.
So we had having to physically get between her so that homeless dudes wouldn't beat her ass because she getting in their faces trying to fight them because they having some grievance with her.
She probably felt protected enough.
Oh, I think that's what it was. Because anytime she would get up in their faces and they looked like they about to jump, I had to jump, physically get in the way. It's like, yo, don't do that. Don't do that. I think you're at that homeless shelter. I won't say her name, even though I remember it. I remember it completely, bitch. She was the worst manager I've ever had to deal with. at the homeless shelter?
The worst manager I can think of. It's two stories here. One was when I used to work at Mr. Tire, and I was a general service tech, so I was pretty much like a gopher. Going to get parts for tires from different stores. When the tire truck came, I unloaded tires and stacked the tires up and things like that. And I would do a bunch of oil changes and flat tire repairs. The manager I had at the last store I worked at, I'm gonna say his name, Ray. Fuck you. He cool, but he would be on this shit. So one day he told me like, "Hey man, come with me. I got an errand we need to run." So I was like, "Okay." I wasn't thinking nothing. I'm thinking we about to go to the tire warehouse or something. So we ride along the Mr. Tire truck. He takes me to his garage, to his house, and he says, "All right, we about to clean out my garage." I'm like, "Who?" He said, "Me and you." I said, "I'm not doing that." He said, "Was you on the clock?" I said, "That's not part of my job description to clean out your garage." I said, "I'm not doing that. I will," and I didn't know where I was at, but I will find a way to get out and get out of here. Like, I ain't no way in the world I'm about to clean out your garage. He's like, "You serious?" Like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." All right, I was gonna give you a couple of dollars. That nigga wouldn't give me no couple of dollars.
That's why he mentioned that you were on the clock. You were already getting a
couple
couple
of dollars.
Exactly.
So that was one manager who I just like. He was up and down. One day he'd be cool, next minute he'd be like, "All right, we gotta do this." It'd be some bullshit, and I could not stand it. But then when I worked at Panera Bread, a couple managers were cool, but the system that they had in place for management was asinine because you would have on any given day 6 managers.
Nice. How the fuck does that even work?
Right, you have it's like, and then it means you got 6 managers, 6 people in your ear if you fuck up. And it's like you make a mistake while you might mess the order up, you might give out the wrong order. So one person worry about ticket times, one person worry about your shirt not being tucked in, one person worry about you not putting the soup on in enough time, and then different things like that. And it's like, oh my god, like why are all y'all on my back? Instead of helping me, it's like I'm getting bitched at from 3 to 4 different people, and then I got heard about again for the next 3 to 4 people to come in for the next shift.
Nice.
So like I said, there's just that system of so many managers, and then think about it, nobody's telling you a way to improve. Like say like, hey, when you get slammed, before you get slammed, do this and do that cut down your time and everything like that. Because one day, one of the managers, this bitch, April.
Oh, he revealing names and shit.
Yeah, I'm dropping names today, baby. She told me that, so-and-so was mad with you, talking about the general manager. She's just disappointed you. You could do so much better. So I'm like, well, what did I do? Because you just told me all that, and I don't know what I did wrong. So she just walked away. So I went up to the general manager. I said, "Hey, can I talk to you real quick?" He's like, "Yeah." April just told me that you're disappointed in me, and I could do a lot better. What did I do wrong? Because she didn't give me any information as to what I did wrong.
Right.
And so me and him had a conversation and everything. And at the end of it, he said, "You know what? I appreciate you coming up to me and asking me how you can do better. Because, nobody's ever done that before." So in some sense, I gained respect and I impressed him. But had the bitch said to me, "Hey, give me some kind of feedback, some positive feedback and some better critique than just, you can do better," and then walk away, was not helpful at all.
Sounds pretty helpful to me. Do better. Pretty succinct.
You would think that, of course. So tell us about a time when they told you that they let you go because you weren't too enthusiastic to work or something like. What was it? You just seemed eager to work there, something like that.
Which one was that?
I think was it Spry?
Oh yeah, that was actually my other terrible manager, and that was actually in my field. So the company, I don't even know if they exist anymore, but fuck it, I'll say the name. Spry Inc. And since we're dropping names, the president was Brooke. So that story I told about the job offer, this was the other job. So I had the job now. Granted, they were paying me less than what they promoted the job for. I took it because I needed to get my foot in the door. Mm-hmm. So I'm making terrible wages for the job that I'm doing, 45K a year.
Hold up. You starting off big at 45K.
Mm-hmm. But the position was advertised at 66.
Oh.
So I'm making shit.
You should be slapping everybody in the face around that office.
I took it. It's like, you know what? Get my foot in the field. And this thing, after 6 months, we're going to give you, $5,000 raise. I'm like, okay, I'm busting my ass. Mm-hmm. I get my performance review after 6 months. It's a good performance review. And I'm thinking in my contract, I'm supposed to be getting this extra $5,000. Now, I was already distraught when I found out how much everybody else was making. And this is a point to anybody in the job. Ask people what they make. Now, as employees, ask everybody what they make.
I thought that was taboo, though.
Management and companies made that taboo because they don't want workers to be able to say, oh, look, he's making such and such. Why am I making such and such?
Oh, okay.
Ask your fellow coworkers what they make. So one of my coworkers, great guy, I love the guy. He's not as experienced as a programmer as me. He wanted to switch over to being a programmer. He was a data analyst. He's not an experienced programmer, never done it. He's making $83,000 a year. I'm like, what the fuck? You can't even write code because he's friends with the manager. He's friends with the president of the company and everybody else most of the people who are part of the company are friends with the president and her family members who are part of the company.
And that's why I want you so you come sucking the $80,000 a year.
Because you think I'm going to just give it to you on GP? I ain't these white folks. You going to have to earn that.
20 years of friendship is earning.
Not the same.
Go ahead.
So now I'm asking other people how much you make and what they do, and they make way more than me, and I'm doing either the same thing or more, and I'm distraught. I'm like, yo, I'm not fucking feeling this shit no more. I had my performance review. My performance review was good, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get this $5,000, but it ain't great. I'm already starting to look for a new job.
So it brings you from 45 to 50.
To 50, and my team lead comes to me and says, because the president gave me my performance review, Brooks says that you didn't want your bonus. I said, excuse me? Yeah, she said you didn't want your bonus. I said, I will smack that bitch in the face. I said this about the president to my team lead. She's like, well, if you want your money, you should bring that up. I said, I shouldn't have to. It was in my contract. Well, I'll talk to her. And so a week later, we had a conversation about it. Said, okay, what we'll do is we'll wait another 6 months and then we'll reassess it. Productivity from Stefan went down the drain. I mean, granted, I was still doing my work, but we had team meetings. I got my head down.
You doing shit like this?
No, I mean, my head is on the desk. When it's time for me to talk, I left my head up and then put my head back down. Again, I'm still doing my work.
Right.
And so, but then they called me and they let me go. This again, again, I had no infractions ever. I had no write-ups, nothing. They said that, no enthusiasm and, not doing the bare minimum. I say, are you serious? Really? And again, I was adamant about the job being shit. I was vocal about it. So I understand why they would let me go. Because I was vocal. I was telling them
they didn't want you to be a cancer to the rest of the people around there.
Right. And they had brought a new guy in and he was making less than me. And I'm like, yo, they dicking you.
Damn.
They dicking you. And again, I was vocal. So I understood. But they had a bullshit reason why they let me go. But I get it.
Right. For them to say, well, you didn't bring your money. Why should I bring my money up if it's in my contract?
It's in my contract. Right? It was in the contract.
Then you need to review the contract then.
So I'm like, hey, well, fuck this job.
It seemed like either had you even mentioned the money at the end of your review, they could turn around and say, oh, he was just concerned about his money at the end.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, white people play that bullshit.
So again, people, ask your coworkers how much they make. Don't make it a big secret, because that way management will dick everybody and you won't even know about it, because I don't like to talk about my finances.
Yeah, I always thought that was taboo. Like, you shouldn't do that. Because I never.
No, that started from the top. Because when the workers know how much they make, then they can know who's getting screwed over.
True. But you also have to remember too. I won't say you per se, but people out there. If you started a job and you've been there for like 2 or 3 years, and they bring in like some new people in, that starting wage might adjust. So if you come in there like, I came in at PayPal making $13 an hour. And they brought, and maybe like when I was in my next position, they brought another class in. They were starting off making 15.
again, you talk about that.
Yeah.
Give me a pay bump. I mean, that same thing happened to me when I was working at Brookstone.
Mm-hmm.
I was $750, and then they had new people come in making $825. And then I talking to the manager because I asked, I'm like, how much you make? Oh, I make $825. I said, no, fuck this.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Rob, what is going on? He's like, they seasonal. I don't care that they seasonal. He said, you're a permanent employee, so you should maybe want to give me a bump so that I'll stay a permanent employee.
Right.
Yeah, this is why I talk to people, because new people coming in, sure, if they starting higher, then you as a person who's been there, you need to be bumped up to where they starting at.
Now, would you consider the fact that they start higher if they have maybe experience in that position or not?
If they're doing the same work, no.
Okay.
You're new to the company, regardless if you have experience. If you're doing the same work as me who's been there for a while, no. In the field that I work in now, in the companies that I work with, I talk to my coworkers about what I make. I said, I've been in here for 10 years. I make such and such. You're just starting out, and you make it. And if it's low, if it's really low, then I'm like, talk to somebody about that, because they dicking you around.
Man, it's cutthroat out here. Cutthroat.
It is cutthroat, but we as the working class don't need to be cutthroat to each other.
No.
There's management who throats you can cut.
I like that. I like that. Very well put. Very well said. So I guess that was the worst jobs we've had.
Yeah.
Bad management we had.
So yeah, that's worse and bad management.
Okay, so let's go leave with a positive note. Them good managers. Let's see. I think one of my favorite managers was my very first manager, Sam Mason. I don't know if he listens to this, probably doesn't. But he's a friend of my brother's. But my brother knew him at the coffee shop he worked at, and that's how I got my first job. But Sam was just the coolest manager you could ever ask for. As long as you didn't bullshit and dick around, you always in Sam's good graces. And it was one point in time, Sam had left and went to another store. And, when he left, he told me, like, hey, man, make sure you're on your best shit. Because, if you're not, they'll probably try to get rid of you. Because I'm not here to, speak up for you. So I said, all right, I got you. And when he left, and that's when I started working harder. Like, I developed my work ethic really came more into play. Like, I was doing stuff up over beyond my position to a certain extent. I just made sure my shit was just tight, right. Stocking up and making sure that they, I was a team player and things like that. So when Sam came back after maybe like a 2-year stint almost, I think, when he came back, he was like, "Oh, I see you still here, and they ain't saying nothing bad about you." I said, "Of course not. You told me what to do, and that's what I did." So I've always kept that in mind, to always do what you can, do more of what you can if you can. And the other good manager I had that really stuck out to me, her name was Kelly at PayPal. So I would say she's a great manager because she took me under her wing and showed me not how to play this game with these white people, but just how to better myself and prepare myself for when the opportunity comes. So, as long as you're doing the right things all the time, and then when they ask you, hey, do you want to do training? Do you want to do this? You want to do that? Do you want to cover for a team lead? You are ready for that, and then you don't have to do nothing extra. So that's what I learned from her, and I really do appreciate that, and that's something I keep with me as well, even though I'm not working right now. If I were to go back into a call center or some kind of management position, like I already got the mindset of what I need to do, how I need to carry myself. So thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, as far as best managers for me, I'm going to try to be impartial because sometimes I've worked with family members, so I can't include you. I'm sorry, Uncle Lester. I'm sorry, Uncle Earl. So I can't include you in my best managers because we were family. So, one of the best managers that I had was Rob when I worked at Brookstone. I mean, cool dude. When I came to him about that complaint, about, the new people coming in, even though they were seasonal, they were making more than me. He promoted me to the stockroom manager so that I could get a big bump in pay just to keep me there because he wanted me there. And again, the position needed filling. I've been working there and he's like, you know what, you're a hard worker. I know you can do the job. You've been helping, you've been assisting the other the stockroom manager who they just promoted. Take his job. We give you the pay bump.
Let me ask you this for you. I'm sorry, but how serious was that stockroom? Because that was a small ass store in Towson Mall.
They had 2 stock rooms, one upstairs on the 4th floor and another one across the street.
I'm sorry, my bad.
And I was the only one doing it. Motherfucker, don't diminish what I had to do. So,
I'm so sorry.
Don't diminish what I had to go through with that bullshit.
This man said across the street.
Yeah, they had 2 stock rooms, one on the floor for a bigger shit and another one across the street at the storage center.
Continue.
So he was one of the best managers I had, again, because he understood that he got to do what he has to do to keep his people, even though he did do some bullshit that I had to go through. But that's everybody. And outside of that, the only other manager that I could say that I really, really enjoyed working with was when I was out College Park. I was going to school out College Park, and my manager, the White Russian, that's what I always called him, the White Russian Constantine. That was my ace boom coon. That was my ace boom coon. I said I was working there when I was, the entire time I was out College Park. He said he gave me a job. I came in and talked to him. He was like, whenever you want to start working. Boom. And then, I left after school was out for break, and I came back, and he was like, Stefan, I need you back here, man. I will get you a pay bump. I will make you assistant manager. I just came to say hi, but okay. But okay.
How much you go up to?
So when I started there, I was started at 7, and then when I came back, he gave me $750, made me assistant manager, gave me some responsibility, and granted, he used that to slave drive me, opening and closing all the goddamn time.
For $750? Well, you know what, shit. I know managers that worked at GameStop, and what was that other place in the mall? Power Gamer.
Yeah,
they were managers. $8 an hour, $8.50 an hour managers. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, again, this was some years ago. Management wasn't making that much.
Nah, yeah, we talking about like 2005, 2006. So.
Yeah. So, Rob, Constantine, wherever y'all the shit. Like I said, I'm being impartial. I can't say my uncles.
You did work at Popeyes. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. And both of the times that I worked at Popeyes, I worked with one of my uncles.
I'm sure you got some stories for days.
Woo! Plenty. But we ain't got time for that here tonight.
Oh boy! So we went over interviewing for jobs, workplace politics, good and bad managers, and best and worst jobs we've had. So, any advice you want to give to our audience out there?
Before we close out, anybody when you're going on a job, before you even go on a job, learn how to sell yourself. Understand what the position is asking for, but 9 times out of 10, people hire somebody that they like. So learn how to sell yourself. Figure out everything that you would consider your strength and play that the fuck up. Because it'll go a long way for somebody to say, yeah, I like this person's personality. I want them on my team. Or find a place that's desperate to hire people. Either way.
Just stand there like this.
You see the sign, bro. You hiring. You know you need people. You need people.
Oh boy, that's funny. It's not a desperate place to hire somebody. Let's see, what advice would I want to give somebody? Well, yeah, I think that with all the resources we have available to us now, like Google and YouTube, me and stuff on that had that growing up. So if there's something that you're not sure about, like interviewing skills or how to conduct yourself in the interview, what things the interviewer might be asking you, Google that, YouTube it. It's always some kind of form or some answer out there. Just gonna answer your question pretty much. I would say, use your resources. Use your resources because they're available, and it's just more than whatever you use you Google and YouTube for. I promise you, there's a whole lot of helpful stuff out there as well for it too. So, and like stuff I say, research and sell yourself. If you can't sell yourself, why do they want to hire you? All right, I think that covers everything. Yep. So what episode is this? 48. We made it episode 48. 8. Well, when he's done cheering. All right, that's the show. And as always, you can check us out on YouTube. Listen to our podcast on SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Like, listen, comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe. Dun, dun, dun. That's the show. Peace out. Peace out.